Yeah, this is a weekend that might have completely derailed the Texas Rangers. It felt like at the very beginning of the weekend it would, and instead they sweep the Guardians, they leap the Guardians, and they are now back seriously in contention for the wild card spot. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Rangers podcast. John Radigan here. Tanner is running the show for us today, and Jeff will join momentarily as he gets to us with some post-game reaction to this one. But what a game it was for the Rangers. What a weekend it was. Let's start with what they learned about, as basically the weekend commenced, and that was that Evan Carter would be lost for the season with that fracture in his wrist, right? They learned that one Marcus Semien would go on the injured list. The last time Marcus went on the injured list, I believe it was still called the disabled list. He doesn't go on the injured list. He did, and hopefully we'll have an update. I think we'll get one. I was there for pregame today, and Bochy had not yet heard about Marcus's most recent visit with the doctor. But there's still a lot of pain in that foot. We remember in that Thursday game, he fouled one off the foot. So against that backdrop, a team that had struggled so mightily of late and through the month of August, it seemed like they might just fold the tent here as they begin this homestand, and just the opposite has happened. A huge comeback win, that was secured in the ninth inning by back-to-back hits on Friday. An absolute dominant performance yesterday, and a great performance by the offense where they shut the Guardians out 10-0, and then another shutout today as they shut the Guardians out 5-0. Not lost in all of that was the same thing that's happened all year. 3 great starting pitching performances. The Rangers allow 1 earned run in 21 innings by the starters this series, and so it's a .43 ERA for the starters, who, again, the Rangers starting pitcher ERA is still the best in baseball. It got better, not worse, this weekend, that's for sure. 5-0 the final, 5 runs on 10 hits and no errors for the Rangers. They limit the Guardians to just 5 hits, and Merrill Kelly is the story of this game for the Rangers. He'd kind of been a hard luck loser or no decision guy in his first 3 starts for the Rangers. I think he had one bad one mixed in there, but the other 2 were definitely good enough. Last week, of course, he had to leave the game with some cramping in Kansas City in his hamstrings. He did not have to leave the game because of that today. In fact, he pitched into the 8th inning, faced the first 2 batters of the 8th inning. It was a single and a walk, so out he goes. But look at the numbers. 7 innings, he allowed 4 hits, no runs, just a couple of walks, and 8 strikeouts. And we were thinking early in this game that the Rangers may become the first team ever to have back-to-back games where they had 10 strikeouts and no walks against an opposition. That's the first since baseball was invented. As it turns out, a couple of walks derailed that, and he didn't quite get to 10, although, let's see, the other guys did not either. So anyway, still a fantastic pitching performance. And how about the offense? The offense coming through, and it's guys who we've been waiting to do this. We've been hoping to do this. We were planning on them doing this. Certainly foremost among them would be Jock Peterson. Jock Peterson's had a great month, and he continued that today, hitting his first home run off a left-handed pitcher in 10 years. Last time Jock Peterson hit a home run off a left-handed pitcher was 2015, and he did it today, and he hit a blast, a shot out there to right field. And it was so much fun to see. There was no doubt about it. It was a line drive, and really fun to see Jock Peterson and the way he's been, hitting the ball of late. It was his first hit this season off of a left-handed pitcher and his first home run off of a lefty since 2015. Rowdy Tellez just continues to make us say, okay, yeah, we're going to have to go with a platoon at first base or however we can to keep Rowdy Tellez around here, as his situation there in the fourth inning was so great. He hit, and everybody at that point, everybody had been struggling just a little bit off of Gavin Williams. I mean, he's a power guy. He was struggling against himself and throwing lots and lots of errant pitches, and he's walking a bunch of guys, but nobody's gotten a hit off him at that point in the game. And I guess there was a Corey Seager single in the third, and that was the only hit at that point off the game. He walks a Dlls to start the fourth inning, and then he was ahead. He was doing better against Rowdy Tellez. Rowdy hits a foul ball, way out there to the into right field, into the upper deck, and then next pitch, he takes it deep into the Rangers bullpen. It was great to see the reaction of the guys out there, and it was absolutely great to see Rowdy, just another one that was absolutely crushed, absolutely powdered, and it's again one of 10 hits for the Rangers today, who had double-digit hits all weekend long. So a really fun offensive series, as Bruce Bochy was telling us before the game. I asked him specifically before the game about both Adolis Garcia and Josh Young coming back yesterday, and both of them getting hits in their first game, and both of them actually hitting home runs in their first game. And he said, we need that, and we need that from those guys and from this entire offense if we're going to get where we want to go. Needless to say, they still believe they're going to get where they want to go, and it's performances like this that make you think, if they get there, and let's just say they just get that third wild card spot, if they get there, I believe that they can do this kind of thing in the playoffs. And I also believe nobody can pitch better than the Rangers in the playoffs. Nobody can pitch better than the Rangers in the playoffs. That's the fact. That's the statement. Not when you have Jacob deGrom, who will start tomorrow. We'll have an update on that a little later on when Jeff gets here too. But not when you have deGrom, Eovaldi, and Merrill Kelly. The way he looked today and the way he has really pitched quite well ever since he has gotten here. That changeup is just wicked. It's nasty. He got about his first 4, I think, or maybe even 5 strikeouts on that changeup. So fantastic stuff by Merrill Kelly, and it's a fantastic pitching rotation. You mix in what Jack Leiter did yesterday. By far his best performance as a professional, his best as a major league pitcher for sure, and the 10 strikeouts is a career high, and you just feel awfully good about what this pitching staff is doing and how these pitchers are being developed. Now, do you want to count on a rookie in Jack Leiter in the playoffs? No, but you can certainly go to him, right? You can certainly expect him to go out there and really compete. And one of the things you always have to like about Jack Leiter is the fact that he is so in tune with the veterans who you can and will count on, the Jacob deGroms and the Nathan Eovaldis of the world. Leiter always seems to be right between them, picking their brains, and that's a really good thing. So a really good performance by this team. The Rangers require Cleveland to use 6 pitchers. I ran out of space on my scorebook on the number of pitchers they used, as they got Gavin Williams out of there in just 3 into the fourth. He got 1 out in the 4th inning, so 3.1 for him. He allowed 3 runs on 3 hits only because, again, it was all walks. and then 4 walks and 3 strikeouts. So it was the kind of performance we've completely expected from this Rangers team. It was really nice to see. It was really nice to see even today, both Young, he had a single, he had 2 singles, and he scored a run. And then Dlls had 2 walks and a double. And I loved the aggressiveness on that double. In fact, I hated it, then I loved it. When I see him with a head of steam rounding first base, I'm sitting in front of my TV going, no, 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 no. Oh, okay. Yes, 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 yes. It was, and again, it goes back to scouting reports. They probably knew, he's not gonna get me at second base. It was a terrible throw. I mean, it was way over the second baseman's head. So that's one of those cases where you, as an offense, are trying to make them make the play. And in this case, they were the Rangers scouting report likely said they're not going to make the play, and they didn't. So, and as it turns out, in that inning, that was the 5th inning. In that inning, Dlls got stranded there. He got moved over to third base, but he got stranded there actually, and that's fine. It still shows the mindset of this team. And so did all the steals. I mean, there were so many stolen bases in this game. There was that one instance where a walk by Wyatt, and then he stole second and stole third. The Rangers are taking matters into their own hands right now. They're doing everything they can to manufacture runs, create runs if they have to. They didn't need to do that yesterday because everybody was hitting the ball out of the ballpark. They do need to do that a lot of games. They really didn't need to do it again today because you had, the 2 big home runs. The insurance home run by Jock Peterson to make it 5-0 was fantastic. The other one we didn't mention about yesterday was the Cody Freeman home run. And I talked to Cody before the game. I said, any sniff on the ball yet? Because he hadn't gotten the home run ball back as of last night. He said, I'm willing to trade, whatever you guys want to do. And as of this morning, there was nothing. Well, then we talked to Bruce Bochy, and Boch said, oh, we're going to give it to him today. It's on my desk. He said that Boch goes, well, we might give it to him today. Let me see how much I can get for it on eBay. Of course, he was kidding. They'd never, ever, ever sell that. That is such a great memento, I should say, for Cody Freeman. And, we thought his smile was big when he hit it. I'm sure it'll be just as big when Boch surprised him with it. He said that would happen during the hitters meeting, which is after the time when we talked to Boch. So I'm sure in postgame there was a report about how that hitters meeting went. And at that time, Boch wasn't sure which player would give the ball to Freeman. It's kind of a tradition that a player gives it to the rookie in this case who's celebrating that milestone. So we'll find out who gave it to him, and we'll find out what the reaction was when Jeff joins us in a couple of minutes. But as it is, the Rangers get to 66-66 on the season. The Guardians fall a game under 500. So right now, the Rangers move a half game ahead of the Guardians. They're still going to remain behind Kansas City, and it makes you cringe about the Kansas City series, even if they split, or certainly if the Rangers would have been able to win that series, then Kansas City would not be ahead of them as well. But they did. And they didn't, I should say, and so they are, and the Rangers will have to deal with that. We've got lots more coming up, though. When Jeff joins us, we'll get to post-game reaction. We also want to talk to you today about that next series, which is in the division. It is against those famous Angels from Anaheim, California. We'll talk about that. Updates on lots of players coming up, too, and lots more as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast. But first, we want to tell you about Monarch Money. What a fantastic budgeting app this is. And it's way more than a budgeting app. They don't just want to help you budget your money. They want to help you grow your wealth. And there's really a big difference. And they've got the mechanisms in place to help you not only be smarter with your money, but then smartest with your money. And when I say smartest, so there's smart, smarter, and smartest. And smartest is taking the money that you've been able to manage more effectively and growing it, right? And growing the wealth and making it so you don't have to work quite so hard. It's one of the biggest headaches. It's one of the biggest hassles that all people deal with in their life. And Monarch Money is just fantastic at helping you manage it. So we encourage you to go to monarchmoney.com and use that code DLLS. And if you do that, you're going to get a half a year, basically 50% off the first year, but that's one half of the year for free. That's a fantastic way to start with Monarch Money. Save some of that money and use it wisely with Monarch Money. And the other thing we want to tell you about is a fantastic event that's coming up with our partners over at Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Are you looking for an afternoon of great conversation, good company, and a chance to make a difference? Join us for the Big Brothers Big Sisters 4th annual Cigars and Conversations. It's happening on Saturday, September the 13th from 2 to 6 at Casa de Monte Cristo in Dallas. Premium cigars, a complimentary drink, and you get to connect with people who care. Big Brothers and Big Sisters, board members, their staff, and other community leaders who are all trying to inspire change. Learn how you can become a mentor and positively impact a young person's life. Ask questions, share stories, and discover how you can get involved. Whether you're a seasoned supporter or just curious and think, yeah, this is something I'd like to do with my extra time, make sure you be there. It will be fantastic. That's Cigars and Conversations, Saturday, September 13th from 2 to 6 at Casa de Monte Cristo. Be the change. Be the mentor. Visit the link in the description for more on this event and for more on our partners at Big Brothers and Big Sisters. Big fan of that organization. I'm a big fan of everything that they do and have several friends, including my buddy Tom Grieve, who have been always been a part of that growing up. So it's a great, great organization. Okay, so this Rangers team has been probably the most enigmatic team I've covered in 35 years of covering the Rangers. They go from this weekend, this sweep, to frustrating us in so many ways. But Jeff and I said it on Thursday when we were on the show. We said, it's probably pretty unlikely that the Rangers are going to get back into this race and get back into this thing. But if they come out and, have another blank and one homestand, so in this case, it'd be 5-1, or 6-0, who knows? But if they come out and have a homestand like that, well, you don't know. Anything's possible. If they continue to win, they could either catch and or leap Kansas City, and then they'd be staring at Seattle, who right now holds that third wild card spot. But the Yankees are ahead of Seattle, and the Yankees are leaking oil again. So it's very interesting. It's going to be really fun, and I believe it'll be fun that the Rangers will stay in it. Again, I was like you. On Friday, I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, no Semien for a while. Evan Carter out for the rest of the year. This just may not be possible. And then guys like Adolis Garcia and Josh Young and Jock Peterson and Rowdy Tellez come through, and the next thing you know, you've got what we've got, which is the Rangers leapfrogging one team. And again, that's the biggest thing when you're looking at a wild card race. You might say, we're only 2.5 games back, but there's 4 or 5 teams between you and sort of that promised land spot. That's not the case with the Rangers right now. There is only one team ahead of them in that wild card chase. So, and that's the Kansas City Royals, and then they'd of course have to get there. So it is a realistic possibility today. Certainly much more realistic than it was on Thursday when we talked to you last. Now, will the Rangers keep playing like this? It's a good question. They haven't played particularly well against their division this year. And so we'll just have to see. And, the worst part, they haven't played well against Kansas City or Seattle. Who are those two teams I said that are just ahead of them? Yeah, Kansas City and Seattle. And that's too bad, right? If the Rangers had been better, if they'd just split season series or thereabouts with those two, they'd be ahead of both of them. So, that's the way, as Wash might have said, that's the way baseball go. Wash, by the way, won't be here for this series. He has taken the rest of the season off, but we're more and more optimistic that Ron Washington will be back next year with the Angels, and certainly always hope that that will happen, because we hope such good things for Wash. Jeff just texted and said that he is waiting to hear if Marcus Semien talks. So that's a big one. We'll be glad to wait for Jeff on that one because I want to hear Marcus Semien said, and by the way, how many times have we seen a baseball player foul a ball right off their foot? It happens almost every game, and probably multiple times a game. And so when we saw what Marcus had done, it's like, I know that hurts. And believe me, I've sat with enough major league players, McLemore and Bouchel in particular, David Murphy, who tell me, you have no idea how much that hurts. And Mac was the one who also always told me, and you're not allowed to act like it hurts. In the old school especially, and you still see it today. I thought Wyatt, or rather Evan Carter, did a pretty good job of it. He got his wrist broken, right? He got his wrist broken by a pitch, and he winced a little bit, but he was showing toughness. That's still sort of the unwritten rule. Don't act like it hurts. That gives the opponent an advantage. Sometimes though, it hurts so bad you can't hide it, and that seemed to be the case with Marcus. Very strange that it's this bad. He said later Thursday or maybe even Friday that it felt like there was knives being stabbed into his foot every time he took a step. So Bochy didn't have much of an answer for us about what the actual diagnosis is. I would have to think it's likely some sort of a fracture in there, but possibly ligament related. And we'll hope that neither one of those things is true. And they've figured out that through some rest and maybe just the normal stay on the injured list, that Marcus Semien will be able to get back into this rotation, into this team and back at second base. In the meantime, though, the other guy who's having a great month of August is the guy who played second today, and that's Ezekiel Duran. It's been fantastic to see what Zeke's done. He had the infield single and scored a run in that fourth inning. Infield single, stolen base, and then he got driven home on a single by Wyatt Langford. He actually 2 runs scored on that little bloop single. We talked about it with Seager, I think it was, on getaway day on Thursday. He was just a master that day of hitting it where they ain't. And that's what the Rangers did a few times today. Yesterday it was all power, right? Today there were a few instances of just placing a ball where nobody can get it. And that was the case with Wyatt Langford there in the fourth inning on his 2-run single. You had 2 runs driven in by Wyatt. You had 2 runs driven in by Rowdy Tellez on the bomb to center field. And then, of course, the Jock Peterson home run accounts for the other run in this Rangers victory. So they look to face this Angels team that is sort of fading away. It's not dead by any means, but it's fading away. This was a team that was able to keep its pace with the Rangers for a long time throughout the course of this season. And I really didn't think, I thought after Wash left, which was right around the break, I thought maybe even before the break, I thought, well, that's going to be it for the Angels. Credit to them. They have stayed in it, but but they're beginning to fade. And, that was probably expected maybe even sooner than this season. I saw a note today. They're going to have as much as $60 million come free from expiring contracts at the end of this season. So, first of all, they can and likely will be a player in free agency. And secondly, especially if Wash is back, I think we can expect them to be a much better team next year than they've been for the past several years. They were so much better, have been so much better this year as the influence of Wash has begun to take hold. And of course, we have tremendous confidence and faith and really pride for Perry Manazian, who is their general manager. We knew Perry when he was a kid, helping his dad in the Rangers clubhouse. So they've got their they've got their stuff together. They've got the people in place, and now if they're going to have that much money to spend, they could definitely be a factor going forward. I saw somebody in the chat say, "Bring on the Astros," and look. Jeff and I have talked about this a lot too. If the Rangers are going to play like this, like they have this weekend, then, reaching the Astros is not impossible at all. The Rangers and Astros play each other 6 more times this season. And we were also talking about the fact this was the last time that the Rangers, or the last team that the Rangers played this season, the Guardians. So they still have 3 more with this Cleveland team, and that'll be the last series of the season. And that could be very significant. I think Cleveland might begin to fade away here, but it could still be significant for the Rangers as it pertains to, trying to jockey for position right there at the end of the season. Again, it's on them. They've got to keep playing like this. It's been really fun to watch this weekend, but it's been really frustrating to watch prior to this weekend on so many occasions. But Jeff joins us now with post-game reaction from down there. Were you able to wait out Marcus, Jeff?
No, I was not.
Okay.
It's kind of a weird day down there. It's family day. And so there's kids and balloons and all kinds of stuff everywhere. So players were not readily available. They're with their families. We put in the request, and ultimately I said, you know what? I can't leave John hanging for much longer. So I told Kennedy and Sean I'd be checking their Twitter accounts to see if anything happens. But
what did Bochy say about him? Did he have any updates?
He did not have any updates. Marcus went to see the specials during the game, or just before it, and so I think based on what we talked to Marcus about yesterday, it's a matter of whether or not he has to have surgery. I think that he knows he's going to be out a while, and it just depends on how long. And if he has to have surgery, obviously he's going to want to get it done as soon as possible. But we're still awaiting that information. And but yeah, I wouldn't expect to see him in the lineup. Really, I would say past the 10 days. I would say it's going to be 3 or 4 weeks minimum.
Yeah, at least. And I said before you on, I'm pretty sure the last time that Marcus was on the IL, it was still called the DL. Like it's been so long since he was.
It's been a while.
Yeah, but in that conversation yesterday, did you get the sense from him, or does he have any feel whether it's like, is it ligaments, is it a bone, or does he know?
He doesn't know, and that's part of the problem, because the top of the foot hurts, the bottom of the foot hurts, and there's so many bones in a foot, hands too, and so that's kind of the old thing in sports is you just can never tell. The initial scan might not show anything, but there's something in there because there's so many things in there that can break. So they're kind of, there's been X-rays, a CT scan, an MRI, and then today there are going to be more X-rays. So it's just they're being very thorough about this. He's seeing a foot specialist, and we will see what happens. But I don't think it's a situation where you can just clap your hands and he's going to be okay. It's going to be a while.
Yeah. All right. Let's continue this. We're going to talk more about updates on guys who are coming back or maybe not, and we're also going to get more post-game thoughts of Jeff from not only the game but the series. It's all coming up next. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Hey, and we want you to be a part of this trip to Las Vegas that the Cowboys are taking. Of course, they're going out there to play the Raiders. They finished their preseason on a high note, and so everybody's fired up and excited about what the Cowboys can do this season. And who knows, maybe they can go to Vegas in November and still be in contention and get a victory over the hated Raiders. It's November 15th to the 18th, and it's presented to you by True Fan Travel. It's our trip with the help of True Fan, who give you a complete, what they call an all-inclusive, right? You're going to get your hotel, your air flight, and your ticket to the game, all from True Fan Travel. So scan the QR code or come to come to our website for all the details on this thing. But it'll be really fun to be in Vegas that weekend. Lots of important college football going on Saturday, the whole day of Sunday games, and then the game, of course, is Monday night. And you get to hang out with Clarence and Jeff and Jesse and the rest of our guys. So anyway, truefantravel.com is the place to go, and they're the ones that'll help us get you to Vegas.
Yeah, and you need to have a shirt, a DLS shirt, and you can get them at store.allcitynetwork.com. John's wearing his OG.
Got the wings.
The wings.
Yeah, got my wings on.
And it's a sharp one. I think John secretly thinks of it as a Michigan Wolverine shirt, but
I do.
Nevertheless, you can see it's high quality shirts. You see me in one just about every non-game day, and the new Dallas collection is pretty sweet, and you're going to want to get one of those to let people know in Las Vegas where you're from and who you're representing. So again, that's store.allcitynetwork.com. $34.95. They ship them quick, and if you are becoming a diehard member for the first time, boom, you get a free shirt.
I was saying at the beginning of the program, Jeff, that we've been realistic and will remain realistic about this and about the Rangers' chances. And as of Thursday, when we were on the post-game show and things hadn't gone nearly as well in Kansas City as we would have liked them to, we were like, it's probably not going to happen for the Rangers in the postseason. But if they come home and reel off a 5-1 or a 6-0 homestand, they'll be right back in this thing. Well, all it took was one sweep, and they've left one team, the Guardians. They've inched closer back to the Royals. It's too bad they couldn't have taken care of business against them, but they didn't. And so anyway, this is what we were talking about. The American League is weird this year.
It is, and again, is it because it's not a good league, or is it because it's a really good, and there's so much parity, and these guys just are exchanging haymakers every couple of days? And you saw the Royals this weekend go up to Detroit, and they lost the first two. I think they might have won today. I know they did, but the Rangers were able to gain ground on the Royals as well. And really, we're talking about it right now. The help that the Rangers need is there, because these teams ahead of them, including the Mariners, including the Astros, are losing ball games. Yeah, and the Red Sox and the Yankees. The Red Sox are kind of taking care of the Yankees right now. So you got to have help if you're in the Rangers positions, but you got to help yourself, and they did that. They did that today, and they have to keep it going. They can't just be like figure out, think that this sweep has cured all their woes. They can't take anything for granted. Starting pitching's been fabulous this series. It was 21 innings by the starters with one run allowed. Yep. And it was kind of a cheap run against Evaldi, honestly. And the bullpen had the hiccup Friday night, but the offense actually picked them up. I'm wondering though, this whole cliche, got to play like our backs are against the wall, and they have been. Yeah, the backs have been against the wall for a while. I wonder though, and this is me just spitballing, if the Marcus and Evan injuries were like eye openers to these guys. Like, okay, we're going to be down 2 guys who are key cogs in this. We really have to pick it up. And I think you've seen Duran take advantage of the playing time. You've seen Josh Young faced with some competition from Cody Freeman. You've seen Josh Young had a good weekend. So and then Jock Peterson, who's been bashed all season, and rightfully so. All of a sudden, Jock Peterson, if you kind of look into the numbers, Jock Peterson's an okay player for these guys right now.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
And then you're seeing Rowdy Tellez, a guy who the Mariners let go. He keeps coming up with home runs and some big hits, and it's like, man, these things have come together. But again, they have to sustain it. It can't just be a 3-game thing. It needs to be a 12-game thing, a 15-game thing. They don't have to win 15 in a row, but they have to. The offense has to do its job. The bullpen can't have any hiccups late, because the starting pitching that everybody said was going to come back to earth has not come back to earth.
Yeah, no.
I think that that's the I don't want to say stunning thing, but it's a very positive thing. And I know DeGrom is pitching tomorrow. It's against the Angels, who have kind of had his number, but he's rested. He said everything went well in his bullpen session yesterday, so I'm sure he's motivated to figure out these Angels. Again, and we've been in this position so many times before. It feels like they're in a spot where they can take off, but you got to see it to believe it. And until that happens, I'm not going to believe it. They're
right.
They've closed in on the Royals. They're 4 games back of the final wild card spot, but they still gotta come through. And I'm waiting to see that.
Yeah, and it's funny that you mentioned the injuries to Marcus and to Evan. I basically started the show before you got here with that. Like, this is a weekend that was set up for folding the tent, right? It's like, oh man, here go 2 more guys. And to their great credit, the Rangers seem to have gone just the opposite way, and they have fortified, and they have sort of rallied the troops to make this thing happen, in spite of the fact that they lost 2 of their guys. And so to see, and we talked with Bochy about it today, but to see the Josh Youngs come back and the Adolis Garcias come back, they both were hitting again today, and Adolis was drawing walks again today. Adolis got 2 walks to go with that double today, so it was 1 for 2. It's just great. It's great to see that kind of performance in the clutch, if you will, and it is clutch time.
Yeah. Before I respond to that, there is Marcus Semien news. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks with a fractured 3rd metatarsal and a Liz Frank sprain.
Sprain.
So effective, minimum of 4 weeks. That's Sean and Kennedy both reported that. And Marcus said, hopefully we get back in this race and we'll see where we're at by that time. I'm going to be watching for a little while here. Kennedy said that apparently he doesn't need surgery right now. So that's a positive, I guess. If I'm a betting man, I would bet on the under on Marcus. Kind of like I would bet the under on a Beltre injury. There are just certain guys who figure out a way to manage their injuries and to suck it up and have an ability to do that other people don't. Marcus is one of those guys, but that's the news. And thanks to Sean and Kennedy for
absolutely. And but when you hear the word Liz Frank, That's the one that scares you. That's the Chet Holmgren interview. It's a big time basketball interview where guys are out for such a long time, because that's such a difficult one to heal. I agree with you though. I think at some point many of these things become managing, right? Especially if you don't need a surgery, they become managing the pain and pain tolerance, frankly. And whenever Marcus comes back, he's going to know he's got the entire off season to let this Liz Frank or the metatarsus completely heal, right?
Well, and that tells you how hard he hit that ball. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, because if it's not if it's a sprain, that that means the ligament's torn. That's a hell of a thing for a baseball to be able to do to your foot.
Right.
And his shoes, I've seen them. We auctioned a pair off at Do It for Dirt last year. I thought they were pretty dang padded,
Mm-hmm.
and so that just tells you this is no ordinary injury. And he said he tried to gut it out for a couple innings and play defense and just couldn't do it. He had to walk. He made that throw, the relay that got the runner at third base.
Yeah.
He caught the relay from Josh Smith and threw to third, but Marcus said he had to walk to his spot in the relay line, I guess, to the cutoff spot. And he said I figured I can't play second base if all I can do is walk. So
right.
But I guess now it's good to have some understanding of what it is and what's ahead.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's like Bochy has said a million times. He's literally one of the toughest guys we've ever seen in baseball. I mean, and to your point, ranks up there with Adrian Beltre and guys like that. And some people are just born that way. They're just born with a high tolerance for pain. And I said it at the beginning of the show. How many times have we seen that ball, any ball, off the foot of a hitter? It happens all the time in baseball, and you don't end up with this sort of an injury.
Yeah. So I mean, and it's a freak thing. Obviously, Marcus doesn't get soft tissue injuries.
Right.
He got hit in the wrist the other night in Toronto, and had to miss the game Saturday, and a day later he comes back and homers.
Yeah.
He homered that night.
That's right. And then he homered the next game back.
And then a few days later, something like this. I think I mentioned this last week. There's the theory that was floated by Ryan Spilborghs at Apple TV that the collision with Adolis Garcia was still bothering Marcus. Well, that's a freak thing too. If that's even a thing, I don't think Marcus would ever admit to it. But the point being is you don't see him pulling up hobbling with a hamstring injury.
Nope.
He's tough as nail. He keeps his body fine tuned and well-oiled machine. And so it's something like this that has to stop a guy like that.
Yeah, and it's super unfortunate, and it's not great timing. But if it is the inspiration, right, that the rest of these guys need to be like, whoa, we have to pick it up now. And again, I mean, I think they've been motivated to do this anyway. But if this gives them just that little bit of extra oomph to do it, that's great. Whatever it takes to continue to play like this. This is what they need, this kind of offensive performance to support the pitching. As Jeff mentioned, and I said it before he came on too, 1 run in 21 innings from the starters over the course of this series. Jack Leiter with his best performance of his career, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Just great.
Yeah. And, to go back to what you were talking about before, the Marcus news, you're talking about Adolis and how he's sparked up, and Josh Young, and you can. We were having the discussion the other day with a couple guys in the media, and it's like all these guys obviously love to play baseball. Marcus loves it and goes out there and plays through thick and thin. He just doesn't show it. Okay, but the 2 guys who are going to replace him at second base, Duran and Freeman, they have no problem showing how much they love the game. Adolis too. So, and there, and Wyatt the other night after that double, showing his emotion that he showed. There are guys that can still spark this team, and so I wouldn't leave him for dead yet. But there is emotion there, and I think now they really realize that they have to play with it, because it's desperate times right now.
Yeah. So let's talk more about that, and let's talk about a little bit more about this upcoming Cleveland series. That's coming up. Jeff, you handle the diehard read while I grab some liquid to coat this throat of mine, and we'll be right back as we continue with the DLLS Rangers podcast.
All right, guys, this is anniversary. This is anniversary week. We are celebrating El Numero Uno. It's a big one. And that means that some of you who were day one diehards, and I think you know who you are, you're going to be getting a charge on your credit card this week. All right, John. And then here's the kicker. If you find a lower price, and I think we're going to be running a special next week, hint, we're going to figure out a way for you to get that lower price. Anyway, that's what we want. We want you guys to be diehards. We want you to stay diehards. We want you to have fun. We enjoy the banter back and forth in the chat every show, and not just us. It's, you know, with the other 3 shows that we do on a daily basis. This is fantastic stuff. And now the shows are for free, but to understand what we're talking about, that's what you need the diehard content for, because everything we write, pretty much everything we write, is behind the paywall. Like today I wrote a story, I might have written 2 stories, I can't remember, just one I think so far, about Evan Carter and Wyatt Langford, and how the dream outfield that was supposed to be just hasn't materialized yet. You know, what does that mean for the future, and all these things. That's stuff that you got to have. I'm going to be writing a Jack Leiter story. I talked to Nathan Eovaldi and Jacob deGrom about the kid, and how big this year is for the Rangers going forward. There's so much stuff, not just Rangers stuff, but all of our teams, that you need to know and want to read. Plus, you get a free shirt, and you get 20% off our kick-ass events like the Cowboys trip. And we had some spitballing this week about some Rangers trips.
Yeah.
So become a diehard, and you won't regret it. So
I think the lesson is pretty simple. I ought to just grab a beer every time, Jeff.
Every time, John.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know, I wish this is the good old days. I'd be enjoying a beer right now with you.
Yeah.
Sometimes, depending on where the manager's office is on the road, you can sneak in and say, "Hey, I need a beer."
Let me have one. Yeah.
I've never been told no. So anyway, I've got a little water with some Gatorade mix in it. So
sure. So when you were first on the beat, was John Blake still bringing that little cart full of beer into the press box there after the games?
Not every night, no.
Okay.
But it would happen
anytime Galloway was there.
For sure, anytime Galloway was there.
Yeah.
And other times too. And then you guys may remember, and this is unfortunate, there's a Cardinals pitcher named Josh Hancock, who was had some drinks after a game, and was killed in a wreck afterwards, and that kind of was the end of it. And that was in 2007. So but it didn't last long, and and then Nick Adenhart, the Angels pitcher, he wasn't drunk, but he was killed by a drunk driver in 2009, and it was after a game, and I just think that the tenor had changed in that era, I used to work at the Fort Worth paper, where drinking was pretty much part of the job, and an employee, I won't name him by name, was accused of drunkenly driving over a sleeping homeless man.
Oh boy!
And it was pretty much after that the going out for dinner and having a couple beers ended at the Star Telegram.
Yeah, no, it's unfortunate. You know, of course, back in the day when I first started covering the team in the old ballpark, the old ballpark, the first one, there was a keg of beer up there the whole game.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when we moved into Globe Life Field or Park or whatever the heck it was, the ballpark in Arlington, for years, you know, they just put some beers on ice at the end of every game. And then, as you say, that began to minimize. The last team I remember having done that was Seattle. And it's probably only 5 or 6 years ago.
They do it for day games.
Oh, they do. Okay, they still do. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right. Enough of that. Let us talk more about the series coming up with the Angels, because again, now if you string together basically, if you string together a series win here, you've accomplished more than you could have hoped you would on the homestand. You will be 5-1, and it seems imminently possible when you look at the pitching rotation in this thing, Jeff, as Jacob deGrom will be back. And you said it. I mean, Jacob has had his fair share of struggles against this Angels team, but when you've got deGrom and Eovaldi going for 2 of your 3 games, you got to feel pretty good about winning that series.
No, 100%. I mean, I can't. I mean, we've said it repeatedly. And this is what the Rangers are pinning their, if they get to the postseason, this is what they're pinning their hopes on. Those 2 guys pitching in a short series,
Yep.
and then you got to like your chances. And I think Jacob, again, the Angels have gotten him twice this year. I think he'll be motivated to reverse that trend, and then Eovaldi is really good against the Angels and has been for a while, and so you feel good about that. You want to see Patrick Corbin bounce back.
Yes,
I would suspect that he won't have a very long leash. With Jacob Latz potentially available for some long relief to go ahead and follow him. Maybe you put a right-hander in for an inning and see if the Angels do a bunch of pinch hitting, and then go to Latz. But I think that this is a big start for Patrick Corbin.
Yep, I agree, because again, it could be a situation where they have to decide to go with somebody else in the rotation, right? If he continues to struggle as he has in the past couple of games.
Yeah, and again, when we talked about it Thursday after the Royals game, and he was better Thursday, but he's done so much for the team, and
he has,
and it's been so unexpected based on what he's done the last few years for the Nationals, and then what when he was signed and the circumstances under which he came to the club, these injuries to Gray and to Bradford, and it looked like a desperation move, if we're being honest. And probably, if the Rangers are being honest, it was a desperation.
Yeah.
You're not looking to sign a guy who's still a free agent. There was a reason why he was still a free agent, because of his terrible numbers. And then all he does is come out and pitch and give you chances to win more times than not. So Patrick Corbin, no matter what happens the rest of the season with him or with the club, is going to be remembered fondly for his contributions. But it's also time where you can't lose many more games. And if they don't feel like he's going to give them as good a chance as somebody else, I think you might be seeing some changes with him.
Sure, absolutely. And look, it was a desperation move for him too. Signed for $1 million. I mean, like, this is the chance I got. I'm gonna take it, and I'm gonna make the most of it. And he really has. But there needs to be now this surge here right at the end of the season to get back to how he was earlier in the year. And so with regard to the other post game that you heard in there today, I teased this before you came on. Did Bochy reveal any of the details about what happened with in the hitters meeting with the home run ball delivered to Cody Freeman?
He did not, nor was he asked. And I didn't ask Cody. He was in there, and I'm waiting to hear it for the first time tomorrow.
Yeah.
When he comes on our show.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm saving that surprise for
That's fantastic.
tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll break that news on the show tomorrow. We've got a really big show all week long. Really, we've got big shows because what we're going to do is celebrate our 1-year anniversary, which is Tuesday. David Murphy's going to join us Tuesday. We got Cody Freeman tomorrow. We're working on maybe getting Elvis for one of the shows. And so anyway, we're going to have lots of fun. But great timing for us to have Cody Freeman on when that news appears to have kind of slipped through the cracks, because I talked to him before the game. He was still pretty anxious to figure out where that ball was and figure out how he could get it.
Yeah, and I guess Bochy had it all along, and he was just keeping it secret and maybe making him worry a little bit unnecessarily. But Cody's such a likable guy. And always smiling, always comes up and says hi to you. And if you guys watching or listening, you've followed my other podcast with John Moore, that Cody's been a semi-frequent guest. I think he's been on 3 or 4 times, and always has something good to say, funny to say. Just he enjoys life, and why wouldn't you? You're this young kid, and you're good looking, you're having a career year, and now you're in the major leagues, and your brother's is in the big leagues. What a great time for him and his family. And he's just infectious. And so if you haven't heard any of those interviews on previous podcast appearances, you'll catch some Cody Freeman tomorrow, and you're gonna immediately like him.
Yeah, he's so likable. And the reality is, look, we've seen it happen before, where a young guy comes in, Evan Carter, with this infectious enthusiasm, and it permeates the entire team. It helps the whole team. And so, Cody seems to have that, right? I mean, everybody's so excited. I was waiting for them to give him the silent treatment in the dugout after his first home run, as is sometimes done in baseball. You can't do that with Cody. Like he's coming and jumping on you whether you want to be a part of it or not.
Yeah, and he got around the bases so fast. I don't think you really gave him a chance to plan anything. And then he jumps and forearm bashes or whatever whoever was on deck, and then ran and got the coaches. And I mean, it's such a cool moment. And I asked Bruce Bochy, I was setting him up basically. I said, "Hey, Boch, who did you hit your first career homer off of?" And he kind of paused and looked at me, and he said, "Kevin Coble." I said, "See, it's something you never forget." And he goes, "Oh yeah, you're never going to forget that." And what a moment, and all this stuff. So it elicited the response I wanted. Although I think he was a little confused by my question. Not the first time.
No, and probably not the last. And again, I mean, especially when it's somebody like Kevin Coble, that's forgettable, right? But it's not.
Yeah. I've never really, I'll be honest, heard of him.
No, me neither. I'd have to do a deep dive on Kevin Coble, but again, it's your first major league home run. You're not going to forget it. So very glad that Cody Freeman has that ball, and very glad that he'll be on the program tomorrow. We also, Jeff and I had a long conversation with other beat writers too with Russ Fenstermaker today, and I think we'll get to a lot of that over the course of the week, probably on the show. But we got some really good updates on guys in the minor leagues and how they're progressing, and just how this organization is changing, Jeff. I mean, we've seen they're just so much better these days at developing players.
Yeah, and it's as you pointed out, and I think they're gonna, Ross is gonna use the word that you use, non-linear. All paths are different. They don't follow the same stages and course, and so you know that going into player development. And there have been some serious bumps here, and some losses, and the group that is at high A right now, they're not doing great. But that's you take the good, you take the bad. You understand that this isn't the NFL or the NBA. These guys don't have to play right now.
Right.
And so with that in mind, you have times you can have a crummy year and still be okay, at player development wise, but they do have some guys who there's some gaps. They don't have a lot of star power right now in the farm system, and a lot of their depth is at the lower levels. That's where the stars are. And some of them are still 17 and 18, so they're years and years away. They need some, and there are ways to acquire it. We talked about with trades in the off season, where you can maybe fortify things with, especially on the hitting side, with some more established minor league hitters. And the pitching, I know they traded a bunch at the deadline, 6 arms, but you look at the AA staff right now, all these guys that have moved up from high A, like David Davalillo and Josh Trenadu, and I don't want to leave anybody else out. And then you're getting guys back like Jose Corniel and Winston Santos, who's probably going to pitch this week. So that kind of gives you a shot in the arm there. But there, it is a system that is going to be rated at the bottom in these organizational rankings, and that doesn't mean that they don't have a great prospect in Sebastian Walcott. They do, but it's like, who's behind them and how close are they, and when are they going to make an impact? And it's going to be a while, it seems like.
Yeah. All right. So that's all part of what we will be talking about this week and in the days really and probably weeks to come. For now, though, we'll just be happy that the Rangers swept the Guardians. 5-0 was the final today. They face the Angels for the next 3, and we celebrate our anniversary week, our 1-year anniversary week. That begins tomorrow. We'll be on at 1 o'clock tomorrow with another edition, a very special edition of the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.